Howdy again everyone, and today I'm checking out a whole set of cine lenses that 7Artisans have just put to market, called their INFINTE series, not Infinity, INFINTE. They come in this rather huge box of 7 of them at a price of $5,523 or they can be purchased individually for between $720 and $800 each. The 16mm lens is the exception at $890. They are available in black or white. They are full frame, totally manual lenses for PL and Canon EF mounts, so they can be adapted easily onto mirrorless camera systems. Today I'll be testing them adapted onto my Canon EOS R5. In order to prevent myself going insane, I'm going to split my review across 2 videos. Today I'll be checking out the 24, 35 and 50mm T2.1 lenses. Next time I'll cover the 16, 85, 105 and 135mm lenses. I'd like to thank 7Artisans very much for sending me them for evaluation, although as usual this is a totally independent review. I personally love the aesthetic design of these lenses. I think they look great, they're quite a classy design, and of course it's always helpful to have the focal length printed on the lens cap. Those are slip-on lens caps by the way, but they do stay on fairly nice and securely. When mounted onto your camera, the left side of the lens shows the focal point in meters, and to the right of the lens shows it in inches and feet, and shows the aperture as well. Might have been nice to have aperture markings on the left side too. Each of the lenses are made of metal and feel very solid, with a fair bit of weight to them as well, each weighing about 1 kilogram or a bit over 2 pounds. The rest of the text and markings on the lens's barrels has been properly etched into the metal and filled in with paint, even down to the serial numbers, and all 7 of the lenses have their geared aperture and focus rings in the same size and position for easy interchangeability on your focus rig. They're all based on solid metal lens mounts with 6 screws holding them in place, but no weather sealing. Their aperture rings all turn beautifully smoothly, but my complaint is that they're not evenly spaced. Once you stop down to T16 or T22, the setting gets really fiddly, which is kind of a pain. On all 3 of the lenses, the focus rings also turned extremely smoothly with very long throws to them, which is obviously ideal for video work. Let's take a look at focus breathing. As you can see here, the 24mm lens shows some light focus breathing, zooming in a little as you focus more closely. It's not such a serious problem on a wide-angle lens though. On the 35 and 50mm lenses, the focal lengths where you really want to start avoiding focus breathing, well, they don't really show any of it at all, which is very encouraging to see. Nice. The lenses don't come with hoods, but they do each have 82mm filter threads. The 16mm lens, by the way, is 86mm. They also have double screw points at the top and bottom for mounting equipment. The box they come in is of just an average quality. I had to snip a bit of the foam topping with scissors to get the 16mm lens to fit in correctly, then glue it back down. But it's tough enough to do the job, has roller wheels, and has extra room inside for your camera, a heavy-duty adapter, and a couple of filters. All in all, apart from my mild complaints about the aperture ring, everything is absolutely fine here, and its build quality is only a few steps away from the professional gear. It's also good to see that low focus breathing. So let's look at image quality. I'll be testing them today adapted onto my Canon EOS R5 with its 45MP full frame sensor. No inner camera corrections are available with these lenses, and a brief reminder, 4K video only needs about 8MP of resolution and 8K video needs about 32MP. In the middle of their images at T2.1, all 3 of the lenses look very good, although not razor sharp, and the 50mm lens seems to have a bit less contrast than the others. Stop down to T2.8 though, and all 3 lenses now look excellent, although the 24mm lens seems to have a little more contrast than the others and a slightly bluer colour cast. At T4, all 3 lenses have perfect image quality in the middle. Anyway, let's open back up to T2.1 and take a look in the image corners. At T2.1, the wider angle lenses are really quite soft in their corners, but the 50mm lens looks okay here, except that contrast is still a bit low, and all three lenses display a little colour fringing. Let's stop down to T2.8. The wider angle lenses show a small improvement, but are still rather soft. At T4 they're looking rather better though, although all three lenses are still displaying colour fringing. Here's T5.6 and T8. This is as sharp as the three lenses get, and their contrast is just good, but not super punchy. Overall, for these three lenses, it's just average image quality we're getting here, although for anyone shooting 4K video, they are sharp enough. If you're shooting 8K, expect noticeably soft corner resolution until you stop down to T5.6 or so. Okay, let's see about distortion and vignetting, and all three of these lenses are remarkably consistent. They each show a moderate amount of barrel distortion, but lower vignetting than I expected at T2.1, and that vignetting falls very gently across the image frame. So here's the 24mm, 35mm, and now 50mm lens at T2.1. Stop down to T2.8 or T4 for corner brightness to recover nicely. So you might like to do a slight distortion correction with these lenses, but it's not vital. Now let's see about close-up image quality. The 24mm lens can focus down to 30cm, the 35mm lens down to quite a close 33cm, but the 50mm lens lags behind, focusing only down to 60cm. It's clear that the 35mm lens offers you the best magnification here. Close-up sharpness on all three lenses is just okay, although it seems like the closer the lens can get, the more purple fringing we get exposed to. Stop each lens down to T2.8 for better sharpness and lower colour fringing, and at T4 the three lenses look fantastic when shooting up close. Now let's see how well they put up with bright lights. The 24mm lens gives a slightly below average performance. We are seeing a fair variety of flaring patterns here, although the situation is not totally out of control. Here's the 35mm lens. The flaring looks quite similar, but we are seeing more of loss of contrast, so it's a bit of a poor show. Here's the 50mm lens. It does a bit better than the previous two, holding on to its contrast reasonably well. Next, Bokeh. I feel that all three lenses give quite pleasant out-of-focus backgrounds here, and they are capable, especially on full frame, of throwing your backgrounds out of focus. The 24mm lens is probably the softest, followed by the 35, which looks virtually as soft. Out-of-focus backgrounds on a 50mm lens still look quite nice to me, I don't mind them, but I am seeing a bit of outlining on bright specular highlights. And finally, related to Bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. On all three lenses it's strong, particularly the 35mm. Stop down to T2.8 and it's reduced. At T4 it's mostly gone, especially on a 24mm lens. Overall, these lenses have very good build quality and low focus breathing, which are two of the main things you're really looking for in a cine optic. They also have consistently low vignetting and distortion, which is helpful as well. Image sharpness is only so-so. They're all sharp in the middle of their images, but their corner image quality wide open is only good enough for 4K video work. 6 or 8K shooters will want to stop down their apertures a bit for sharper corners. Their price seems expensive, and in absolute terms it is, but you must remember that cine lenses like this are more expensive to make because they're physically bigger, have much better build quality than most stills lenses, and you're getting their low focus breathing and interchangeable sizes, which are highly valued by many video makers. Also, they're not a mass market product, so there are obviously much lower economies of scale on the manufacturer's part. If you're on the market for a set of lenses like this, then they're not a bad option.